Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy P on a daily. Um, Definitely just want to come and give you guys a video that I've been thinking about doing for like months. But um, I guess I was just trying to find reasons not to do it. So like this subject that I'm gonna talk about is very touchy. It requires a lot of vulnerability for me, and I've never been vulnerable in this state with the outside world. And I just want to, you know, maybe that's the reason why I haven't got around to it. Really wasn't anything else, but just the fear of me being vulnerable. But at the same time, people need this. So I had to come to the fact that, like, when is the lust gonna stop, man? You know, I've been in Christ for a few years. I got saved back in 2018 by my mom. My mom baptized me in the bathtub. Her being in the church and being in a higher, I don't know exactly what she was. I know right now she's a prophetess, but back then she had a title in the church, and my mom watched me get shot at outside of our window where we were staying at. And that day had changed my life. Almost lost my life, and my mom almost watched her son lose his life. So I had made a decision to be like, Mom, this God you always talk about, like, I think the God that you always talk about saved my life today, and I gotta thank him for it. So God saved my life that day that I got shot at, point blank range. No bullet hit me. And I paid my life back to Christ for that. The life that I was living back then was ridiculous. I was out on the streets, ditching school, off drugs, selling drugs, involved with street crimes and activity. And the road that I was heading down is, as you see on the news every single day, teenage kid shot and killed, or teenage kid shot and killed somebody, car stealing, all that stuff. Like, it was crazy. But back to this lust thing. It's a very touchy subject because I know where it comes from. I know where it's rooted inside of me. And it's something that it is easier said than done when you deal with it. So I grew up in a household consisting of a mom and a dad. Not ashamed or not embarrassed that I grew up in a household with a mom and a dad. I know how rare that is in society nowadays. And it was a blessing having a male figure in the house, and it was a blessing having a female figure in the house, balancing them two feminine and masculine energies. And, just learning different things from my mom, how she go about her life, and learning things from my dad. But there was a flaw in both my mom and my dad's leadership qualities and parenting, and that's just because their own traumas that they deal with and have dealt with. Needless to say, my mom and my dad did a beautiful job, a wonderful job of what they have done with me and my sisters. And I'm not ashamed, or I would never downplay my mom and my dad for their efforts and everything they have done for me and my sisters. They did all of what they could, with the best of what they could. And being an adult now, I can only imagine the immense pressure that they were under. Them themselves not having guidance, just doing things off the limb. And I just give a shout out to my mom and my dad, because like, it could have been a whole different story. And I'll lean towards my dad right now and talk about a little bit about that. So my dad's dad, my grandfather died when my dad was 13. And from there, my dad necessarily grew up in a way that he didn't have a father. He just didn't know how to be a dad, right? I'm not gonna do the whole long story. My dad grew up without a dad, and that showed him how not to be a dad. Like, he didn't have the fatherly touch, I say, a motherly touch, yes, it's that soft, it's that femininity, it's that empathetic love, you get what I'm saying? And the dad is like, you know, that support for real. It's I'm gonna be at your games and I'm going to be your number one supporter. I'm gonna train you, I'm gonna put you in all these sports and stuff of that nature. My dad never had that, so he never did that for me. Even though I was nice at different sports, I would play out on the streets and I would be in BMX bikes and I would be doing all this stuff, but my dad just didn't know how to really just be there for me. You get what I'm saying? And even to this day, he still struggles with being there for me. But God placed it inside my heart. Like, he doesn't know how to because he never had it. And you can't penalize him because this is his first time experiencing it. And you so happen to be the first experiment. You get what I'm saying? And it's a learning curve. It's a learning experience. Something that you got to take on when you coming into Christ. Certain different things that you just got to take on. But my mom, right? Shifting over to my mom had, shifting over to my mom had traumatic experiences with her parents as well. And my mom left the house with her twin brother, which is my uncle. I think at the age of like 16, they ran away together. And you can only imagine that. You get what I'm saying? Not having a mom, not having a dad, a supportive mom and a supportive dad, and you're out on your own, you fending for yourself, you teaching yourself how to do things. Both my mom and my dad grew up and they met each other. One not knowing how to be a man for real, he's still learning every single day. And then on the other side, my mom don't know how to really be a woman. You get what I'm saying? They're learning. So a few mistakes was made and things of that nature. And even throughout my childhood, like, I'm pretty sure they can, we all want to get back things that we mess up. But like I said, they did the best of what they had. And I'm grateful. Like, I wouldn't change not one thing that I had went through. But back in like 2015, my mom and my dad got a divorce. And that really separated the household. Even though they were divorced, my mom and my dad, they stayed in the same household for 3 years. And you could just quite imagine how much spiritual warfare was going on, first and foremost, rather than the emotional things that were going on. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. I got stories for days, but for me specifically, I can't really speak for my sisters, but for me specifically, it was a shift for me because I was just getting into high school. It was my freshman year. And my mom and my dad going through a divorce, and they're trying to stay together for the sake of me. They want to stay for the sake of me and not like have me bounce around, They want to wait till I graduate from high school and then go their separate ways. But what had ended up happening is my dad, how he was feeling, really didn't want to put a say-so and rules on me. And then with my mom, how she was feeling, really didn't want to put a set of rules on me. So I was just living freely, bro. Like, I remember nights coming in way past midnight. I'm talking about 3 a.m. on a school night. I'm doing drugs, like I'm smoking weed, I'm popping Xannies, I'm drinking promethazine, codeine, and I'm out in the streets. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm with people who are way older than me. I'm just doing what I'm doing. And I think that I knew my dad had a past life of being in the streets, and I knew my uncle had a past life of being in the streets for the story they always told me. So I'm like, okay, cool. Again, now you see how the cycle is trying to continue, that my dad didn't have a dad to lead him, and now I'm in a position to where in the most crucial years of my life, I didn't have a dad to lean on. So my mom's brother, my uncle, he stepped up and even though my dad was still in the household, but he was dealing with so much emotional baggage that he couldn't just leave. He didn't know how to, one. And number two, like, he felt as if, like, why would I leave? You get what I'm saying? Like, my family's over with, I got a divorce. You get what I'm saying? So, at the end of the day, I love my dad. I still give him grace. I still give him love. Like, I understand, like, God gave me the understanding of why. You get what I'm saying? And staying with my mom. Like, why? That's my question. Like, why? Man, God will give me the answers. So I don't penalize nobody for nothing. I would not change not one thing about my life. I love it. I thank God for putting me through everything that he put me through. But back to my uncle. My uncle was in the streets heavy when he was younger. And he was doing his best to try to save me from following the same footsteps that he had went through, but also to like build on to me as well. So my uncle was and is so spiritually sound, right? That, man, like, he taught me basically everything that I know. Everything I know about Christ. I have been to a church in my life. I never even grew up in a church. I went to a church spot on, like here and there. I grew up in Georgia from the ages of 6 to 11. So, you know, when my mom was down there in Georgia and my dad was down there in Georgia, it was kind of, my dad was a Jehovah's Witness, let me say that. My dad a Jehovah's Witness, and my mom, she was a Jehovah's Witness with my dad, and then she went to the church. You feel me? She went to Christ. And some days I would go to the Kingdom Hall with my dad, and some Sundays I would go to church, but most of the time I wouldn't go at all. Like, I wouldn't go to neither. I would just sit in the crib. And I didn't go up in church, so I knew that there was a God. I remember, like, my dad and my mom wanted us to read the Bible. Me and my sister, when we came home from school, like, we'll read a chapter out of the Bible, and then we had to go our rest of our day, do our homework and stuff of that nature. But I knew there was a God. I just didn't have a personal encounter with him, nor was I in the church growing up. You get what I'm saying? So what had ended up happening in high school was, it was free reign. Like, my uncle was doing his best, but he wasn't my dad. I looked at him as a father for years. Like, he was the closest person to me. You get what I'm saying? My uncle is still alive, but even in that, it's a touchy subject because we stopped talking for reasons that, you know, is personal. And I'm not gonna say right or wrong, who's right and who's wrong, but I'll just leave it there at that. So my uncle taught me everything about Jesus. He taught me how to pray. He taught me how to commune. He taught me how everything. But at the same time, though, as great as my uncle was and is, that's where the lust began. So at a young age, my uncle would come and pick me up. When I was back in Georgia, when I was 6, 7 years old, 8 years old, my uncle would come pick me up, and my uncle was so like heavily involved in the streets and so lustful with women that he would like be doing me wrong rather than thinking he thought in his mind he was doing me right by picking me up all the time and taking me out. But every time we would go out, it would be a different set of women. In my eyes, my uncle was a pimp. One weekend, he'll pick me up, we'll go chill with 2, 3 different women. And I'll be chilling with their kids. I'll be thinking they're my cousins, things of that nature, like, you know. And you take a 6-year-old kid, a 7-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid, and you put him around that. You dig what I'm saying? Even though if he does not know, he does not experience that person doing sexual things, it's just being around a woman, being around a woman, being around a woman, being around a woman, being around a woman. And I'm the oldest of the nephews out of my whole family on my mom's side. So I grew up with all my uncles. All of my uncles, I'm 25 now, but all of my uncles were my age when I was 6. So you can just imagine like how lustful they all were, and being at a cookout, or being at a family gathering, I wasn't with them, the cousins. I wasn't with the baby cousins. I'm with the uncles outside. They smoking, they drinking, they talking about women. My uncles having different women over at the time, like, you get what I'm saying? So, growing up and going to high school, like, my uncle would tell me, like, do your 1-2s, and I would go over my uncle's house to go mess with the women that lived around him, and um, and at the same time, I didn't have a leash on me. Like, I didn't have a mom to be like, oh, you can't do that, and a dad, you can't do that, because they were both going through a divorce, and they didn't want to, step on anybody's shoes, or however it was. And bro, I was tell you, bro, man, I can get emotional, bro, because no kid should go through that, right? No kid should go through like living out on their own, no hold burn, like wherever it's called. And fending for myself, there were nights in a row, weeks at a time, my dad didn't cook for us. He'll cook for my little sister. He wouldn't cook for my big sister, my mom, or me. You get what I'm saying? Because he felt as if his job was over with us. He didn't need to. And I was left to fend for myself. We left to fend for ourselves. So I would go and steal. I would go and sell drugs and have money to go do this, that, and third. Like, I had to go sell drugs to get some shoes and X, Y, and Z. I would do these things because, like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm a man now. At the age of 16, like, I'm a man now. I gotta do what I gotta do. And you can just imagine not having that guidance, being young in high school, and now you starting to mature, your puberty. I'm 6'2" in high school. I play ball. You can just imagine the women, but there was nobody to guide me about those women. And I thank God I don't have no kids. I thank God that God's grace and His mercy was on me the whole time, because I could have went left so many times, bro. Like, I'm not even supposed to be here if it was if I wrote the book. You get what I'm saying? If the pen was in my hand, I was gonna be dead when I got shot at that one time, or when I smoked the wrong weed. Bro, like, I want y'all to imagine me, bro. I'm 17, 18. This is when I was like going ridiculously crazy with drugs. And it's sad to say, but I know that there's days out of my life that I can't remember. Like, I remember going to go do something. I remember one day specifically that I remember going to school. I remember my whole day leading up to school. After school, I decided to go with my friends, and we went to go smoke and drink codeine promethazine. Dip in the backwoods in the codeine promethazine. I remember smoking it, and I remember everything leading up to it hitting me. And I remember exactly how it felt when it hit me. And how it hit me, or how it felt, was, if you ever seen Get Out, and I forgot the actor's name, but when he was sitting in the chair and the mom put him in a trance with the tea, and he fell into his inward self. It was like that. Like, I was a shell. I can remember flashes of me, like, I'm talking about, bro, like, really being damn near possessed. I ain't mean to cuss, but like possessed, to where, like, I remember like blots and images of me walking around, and me like being with my friends and driving around and going here and going there. But like, I wasn't controlling my body. Like, I wasn't even there. And it was days of that. Like, I remember days of that, bro. Like, I would just wake up and, like, bro, I don't even know what I just did yesterday or the day before that. I just wake up in my bed and I'm sober now. And now I'm about to go and just do the same thing. Like, and then I'm going to college, and I went to college. Shout out to my high school coach, Coach Wayne. He like my uncle. He is my uncle for real. I can't even I can't even begin to say what that man did for me. He helped get me out the streets, bro. He helped, like, he pulled me out the streets. Pulled me out the streets. Even after getting shot out, I'm still in the streets. It wasn't up until like 2 weeks later to where my mom baptized me when I was saying, I'm like, I'm done for real. But it was with Coach Wayne's help. Like, when he showed me I can go to school, I can go to college, I ain't got to stay around here. And even in that, like, the lack of support that I had from my mom and my dad, even when I was in school, I was doing whatever. I was already doing whatever, but like now it's more drugs. It's more, I stopped smoking though. It's more drugs, it's more women. I have free reign, I have free access, and I'm up and coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm still maturing. I'm still growing my looks. I'm still growing my beard. I'm still getting taller and taller and taller. Like, with the women and with lust, it just began to be overpowering, but at the same time, the enemy was whispering in my ear. And every so often it whispers in my ear, like, this is who you are. Look at it. Look at it. This is who you are. Your uncles bred you like this. Your dad was bred like this. Like, this is who you are. You are this lustful man. And it feels good, doesn't it? It's what the enemy says from time to time. That you can do whatever you want. Nobody's saying nothing to you. Like, do what you want. And I promise you, I try so freaking hard to fight it. And people don't understand that, because even, like, I can't really explain it to my dad because he's not spiritually awakened in Christ. Like, Christ didn't open up his eyes. So, and my uncle, he lives in Florida. So, and we have barriers in between our relationship. That one day I do pray that we do reconcile things and bring things back to, back to communicating. But as of right now, I'm 25 years old, bro. I have done amazing achievements in my life so far with little to no male guidance. Sometimes I have to give myself grace, but at the same time, I be mad, like, the fight that I fight, the lust for women, like, just imagine what I'm saying to y'all. Just imagine what I'm saying to you. A kid, 6, 7, 8 years old, always being around women every single weekend. From 6 to 7 years old, all the way up till I was 18, with my uncle. Like, always being around women, always knew 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 women. I'm always chilling with different people who, to this day, those kids to this day still hit me up. Those kids still to this day that I was chilling with back then still hit me up. What's up, cousin? They're not my cousins. They're not my cousins at all. I have no relation to them. I just was chilling with them and playing with them while my uncle was doing his business with their mom. You get what I'm saying? Like, y'all have to understand where I'm coming from. To where when the enemy is saying, like, this is you, like, you can go and get any woman you want. And I know I can with my looks and stuff of that nature, but like that vanity stuff, like, that's what the enemy's trying to use. Like, yo, bro, like, you look good, bro. You might as well go and do this, because who's holding you back? Who's holding you back? This is what you are born to do. You were designed to do this. This is what the enemy is trying to, like, what he was trying to do, was trying to get me from knowing my purpose and knowing who I truly am by sending like a counterfeit product of what God already made. I knew I wasn't a lustful man. Some deep down inside me told me that. I knew that everything that I was experiencing, even when I was a kid, 6 and 7 years old, I knew something was wrong, but I just couldn't identify what it is. But little old me in my flesh, not yet in Christ, and even after Christ, it's hard to break a habit of that, being around women. I'm talking about listen to what I'm saying to y'all, and I'm sorry that this video is so long, but I just gotta be real with you guys. Like, when I was in high school and I would chill with the older group of, you feel me, figures around me, peers around me, that they would call on me to call women to pull up. I was the youngest, I was still in high school, but they would call me to tell women to pull up for us, because they knew that I could supply women. And if I'm lying, I'm flying, and I ain't got wings. And no, it wasn't all the time, every single day, but they knew that it was easy for me and I could do it. I remember riding around with women with a bunch of YNs in the back seat. You know what YNs means, you know what it means. But we in the back seat. Oh, well, they in the back seat. I'm in the front seat with one of my women. You get what I'm saying? And if we get pulled over, we all doing time for what we had on us. Drugs, guns, and everything. You get what I'm saying? And this is who the enemy had tried to convince me of who I was. I wasn't a regular kid, bro. I didn't grow up doing, I would smoke before I went to school. I would smoke every day before I went to school. Go to high school. If I had a college basketball, if I had a basketball game, I would play my basketball game. If I had practice, I would go to practice. As soon as I got out of practice, as soon as I got out of the basketball game, I would smoke a black and mild, roll up some more weed. If I was feeling like that, pop a Xanny. If I was feeling like it, drink some codeine. However I was feeling, you get what I'm saying? And just being on that for years. And then going to college. And mostly, sometimes, college students are pent up. They are with boundaries, you know, in their home. So when they go to college, now they trying to get all the fun out. Now they trying to do all the stuff that I was been doing. The only thing I haven't done was go to clubs. You do what I'm saying? So, yeah, y'all, like, lust is still something that I fight to this day. It's something that has been embedded in me. Like, you know, although there's men in the Bible, and I feel like every man has natural lust inside of them because of their sinful nature. But then when you have fed that lust for an amount of time, maybe unknowingly, like a habit, it's just unknowing, a subconscious habit that you live your lifestyle. Now you gotta go back and dig out who that person is. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go back and heal all that stuff. Well, really God does, but I have to do the digging and let God do the revealing and the healing. But I just think, like, you know, a person who has been doing a habit for so long and they're introduced to something new, of course they're gonna relapse a few times, and of course they're gonna, you know, sometimes reject what is good. You know, I think that's natural. That is what happens in the health field when a crack addict or a dope fiend or a heroin fiend, like, they come get treatment, like their body rejects the medicine that they're trying to give them. Even though the medicine is good and is meant to help them, their body rejects it because their body is so used to destruction. Their body is so used to getting treated a certain way. So do I think our spirit and our mind does. When you just put filth inside of your body all the time, whether that's through, you know, corn or having sexual relations, or just constantly viewing women in a certain way or viewing men in a certain way. To my woman, viewing men in a certain way. When you're introduced to something new, it's like, nah, I'm so used to this right here. Like, this right here feels good. It sounds good. It pleases me, but it pleases your flesh and not your spirit. And I just got to the point to where I'm tired, man. And the other day, what God had shown me was Romans, I believe 7:14, when my fault, y'all. When Paul was speaking to the Roman church, and Paul was talking about, I'm gonna give you my my term, what he was saying. Paul was basically saying that he's a slave to his sinful nature. And him being a slave to his sinful nature, even though his spirit tells him what is good, he feels it inside him what is good. He can't do what is good because he's still a slave to his sinful nature. So I see myself in that. To where I know what is good. I know what's good. I try my best to try to do what's good. But I always find myself doing things I don't have no business doing. Or viewing a woman, I don't want to view her that way. I want to view her in a great light, in a beautiful light, in the way that God had placed her to be in. But my filthy lens, my filthy mind that has been programmed to view women in a light that is, sexual. I can't get over the fact that, like, dang, like, you feel me? I might as well go talk to her. I might as well go, you feel me, do that and the third. Rather than like, bro, like either keep it friendly or leave her alone. You get what I'm saying? So what Paul was saying, basically, that he's fighting. He's fighting a good fight and he's losing. He knows what to do. It's inside of him. The spirit inside of him is telling him what to do right. And he finds himself doing wrong because he's still a slave to his sinful nature. Rather than repenting, understanding that he cannot fight that fight without Jesus. And he needs to be a slave to God's law rather than a slave to his sinful nature. He cannot fight that battle on his own. And I find myself fighting that battle on my own all the time. But I promise you that it's gonna start with me. That cycle that my dad went through, my grandfather went through, my dad, my uncle, his dad went through. It starts with me. I refuse to be that lustful man that loses control of his life. It starts with me. The spirit of lust, that had run rampant in my family, and all the men in my family. My dad, my uncle, all of my uncles, like my cousins, my older cousins on my mom's side, like on my dad's side, my fault. Like every man who had their life stripped from them, it stops with me. I'm aware of it. I understand the battle. I know the battle is not my own. I know I need Jesus' assistance. But I just cannot sit here and just let the enemy keep playing with me. I know it's easier said than done, bro. But it stops with me. We're gonna do whatever it takes, fam. For real. And if you're struggling with lust, if you're struggling with any type of temptation, if you're struggling with any addictions, I'm right here with you. You know, if you're in Christ or if you're outside of Christ, if you're not in Christ yet, you can belong before you believe. You are in the family. You invited to the cookout. You get what I'm saying? But sit here, take in this good word. I'll leave y'all with this. Go read Romans 7:14 all the way to Romans 8:5. Go read that. And I'll probably make a separate video breaking down that. But yeah, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. And I'm gonna get up with y'all soon. P on the daily, man. We out.